Hello everyone, it's me, Donna. Okay, I would like to send a message out there to the media. And that message is, can we please get back on the topic of jobs? Can we really focus on jobs? And I say this also to the government. Let's help Americans create and build jobs. Instead of constantly talking over and over and over and over and over and over and over about the Russia investigation that's already pretty much a done deal. They just keep on and on and on and on. It's like a doggone train. They keep pitting this and against that one against this and said this, that and said this, and it just keeps going on and on and on and on and on. My God, can you just let it go? Can you just let it die? I'm just sick of it. I'm tired of turning on the TV and every news channel just keeps on and on and on talking about this. I'm sick of it. Let's let it go. My God, kill that horse. Shoot that horse. I'm tired of it. I'm just sick of it, okay? I'm also sick of hearing about these X-rated women that Trump supposedly had an affair with way before he got into politics and, you know, all that. Okay, number one, if this occurred before, him taking office of the presidency, I don't care. That's his business. Who gives a crud? I don't care. That's between him, them, and his wife. If those people can live with what supposedly did or did not happen, so can I. I don't care. I don't care to keep feeding this money-making thing for these women and these news reporters or whatever. I am done and I am over hearing about it. I'm sick of it. I'm telling you, as a person who watches TV occasionally, who, is a consumer out there, I am tired of hearing about those stories. Move on. Let's talk about something positive. I mean, we've got enough negative stuff, especially, sad things with, people coming up missing and all that type of stuff. Those things are newsworthy. Those things, I understand, the public has a right to know, but let's get some positive things going. And hey, government out there, let's get to talking about building jobs. Let's talk about taking money that has been basically stolen from the American public out there. Money that was supposed to go for social benefits and social things. Take that money that used to be used to prop up what they refer to as welfare queens, which is neither here nor there, although I have seen some examples of that. I will admit that. Although I have seen a lot of people that needed help, needed food assistance, whatever. But I do understand that there were people who took advantage of it, And so I understand, a lot of that money was cut back or taken away or whatever. Well, why don't we take a lot of this money, instead of letting it pile up in a bank account or pile up in some already rich person's pocket? Before that happens, let's take that money, retrain and restructure Americans. Why not? Which I wasn't alive back in the 1940s. That was way before my time. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, around that time, the government kind of got involved with a thing, called the Tennessee Valley Authority, I believe was what it was called. And basically it was an infrastructure throughout, especially the southern United States, with building dams and electricity and all that stuff. You get all that thing going, to basically bring electricity to a lot of us, okay? That created jobs, that created infrastructure, that got things going for that time frame. And a lot of that stuff, I guess, dribbled on out throughout even like the 70s and 80s. There was things like, JTPA programs and stuff like that put people to work, pre-computers and all that stuff. People who didn't have a regular opportunity at jobs, they were allowed to work basically for the government, but yet work in like colleges and, you know, different like government buildings, whatever, like as janitors and, you know, all kinds of different jobs, you know, that was created for people within, you know, the government. You know, why don't we do that? You know, I think a lot of people know that there's a huge homeless problem in this country, a huge homeless problem. Okay? And especially in California and some of the big cities in California and all that, you know, they have like a really big homeless problem. A lot of people on the streets or whatever. Why don't we get something good rolling to where people can go to school free? The government pays for your schooling, your training, whatever. And, you know, maybe give you 1 free meal a day while you're there. If you show up to work, you get 1 free meal. I mean, hey, you know, who wouldn't go for that, okay? Then after you graduate, you automatically get a job. You know, if you follow through and you do your part and you make the grade and you pass that class, there will be a job waiting on you through the government somehow. You know, it might be from anything from minimum wage on up to, you know, on up there, 15, 20, whatever, dollar an hour. You know, and it can be anything from temporary to possibly permanent, you know. Why don't we do that? Why don't our government use that money, our tax dollars, you know, instead of people complaining, oh, there's so many people on food stamps, there's so many people using up our tax dollars for this, that, and other. Well, why don't we do something and get these people trained, you know, get rid of the whole laziness idea. And everybody just kind of, you know, get a little bit of hope in them, get a little pride in them, and, you know, let's get this country back into shape. Instead of everybody focusing on all this weird, wacky, crazy stuff of today that I never would have thought of growing up. And I grew up like, you know, from late 70s to the 80s and 90s. And boy, have I seen a change in society. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I'm thinking, you know what? If a lot more people were employed and had like a real true purpose in life and felt good about what they were doing, you know, maybe a lot of this crazy, wacky stuff wouldn't be going on. I know that may sound naive of me, but that's just how I feel about it because, oh my gosh, it's crazy. So, you know, why don't we do something? And I just think that would be so important. And it can be done. I mean, you know, people can be trained. People, you know, and especially target the poor and less fortunate people. Those are the people that need the training. Because a lot of people cannot afford college. And let's face it, college teaches you a broad spectrum of things, okay? But if you set up a specific training program that is geared towards a job, then you are going to be training people in that area. You're not going to be training them in history and, you know, all this other area that they don't need training for. You're going to be training them specifically for that job. Let's take computers, since I like computers. Let's take computers, for instance. Okay, even though I'm not the most knowledgeable person on computers, but still I do like computers. Okay, if you take people and just train them what they need to know about computers for a specific job, then, you know, you've got them trained. If they pass the class, they're good to go. Then they can go into that job. It's as simple as that. Why don't we do that? You know, I really think if Trump could, you know, focus in on that, if they could do it, if they could find the money to do that, I think that would be a wonderful thing. That would be a huge positive thing to talk about instead of so much negative mess. You know, I just think it'd be wonderful. And the idea like of giving people a free meal, 1 free meal a day, let's just say like if you take a day class or something, you know, to learn your job skill, you get 1 free meal. If you take a night class, 1 free meal, you know. You get your 1 free meal a day. Who wouldn't want that? If you're, you know, if you're poor and you can't afford to eat, at least you get that 1 meal a day. So, I mean, to me, that would be wonderful. You know? So, offer that and let people learn And it might start a ball a-rolling. You know what I mean? So, you know, and poor people can be trained in sophisticated jobs just as easy as rich people. You just got to get them in that mindset and get people to think, hey, I can do it, I can do it. You know what I mean? So why don't we do it? You know, to me, it'd just be so worth it if we could. You know, it really would. So, you know, that's pretty much my gripe and my little soapbox is, and it's not really a gripe, it's just, it's a plea. You know, Trump, if you're hearing me, news media, if you're hearing me, or anybody out there, can you please pass the word around and get the idea and the seed rolling for something like this, even if it has to be done on a private sector, even if, say, like the government itself doesn't have the money or whatever, maybe someone within or a group of people within the private sector see the value in doing something like this, and they understand that this is going to benefit in the long run. If you build this you know, infrastructure of people and buildings and all this stuff, that it's going to benefit society as a whole, then, you know, maybe if those people can see that, then maybe they will, you know, maybe they'll stop and say, oh, okay, yeah, let's do that. You know, let's get the funds rolling. If you have to set up a GoFundMe page or whatever the heck you got to do, you know, let's do it. Let's do it, people.